son, your mom and I are getting a divorce. The only reason anyone ever suffers with anything is because of an allergy or an addiction. The next person I tried on, a chiropractor who was stuck at 30K. He doubled his income in less than 30 days. And I was like, huh, this is weird. Let's test it again, right? That's easy, I can do that too. So I did it on another one. I've tried everything, Tyler. I've tried this. Nothing ever changes me. And they wear it like a badge of honor. I can't change, try. And I was like, let's talk a little bit about my origin story. Like, where did all of this come from? Why aligning? Where did all this happen? And why is this important? So when I was around 12 years old, my parents ended up separating. And it was completely out of the blue. I didn't even know they were in a negative situation. And my dad sits down with me. I was on a couch and I was just like watching TV or something. And he sits down and he's like, hey, Tyler, I need to talk to you. And usually anytime it was like, hey, I need to talk to you, like, that's when I was like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. Something bad happened, right? Like, did I forget the dishes? What did I do? Like, I thought I did everything. Like, it's okay if I watch TV. Like, I'm in trouble. And as I started to sit there and just hear my dad, I could tell that this was something heavy. And he looks at me and he says, son, your mom and I are getting a divorce. And I had no idea. You know, like the previous week, we're all together, families forever, awesome stuff. Hey, we're getting a divorce. And it was as if my whole world just shattered. I didn't even know what was left or right, up or down. I didn't know what was good, what was bad. And as I went through that experience, I didn't know how to communicate it. So I pretended. And I put on the face, and then I went out and I became a high achiever. Straight A's in school, class president, MVP, all sorts of stuff. And I'd go and do everything I could to avoid that pain inside. And everybody thought, man, you have the coolest son. He's the best. I wish I had a son like that. He does everything perfect. And I felt like I had to be perfect in everything I did. And it drove me insane. I went through depression from about 12 to about 18 years old, where I would lay on my bed and meditate on multiple ways that I could kill myself, wondering if I killed myself, would anyone miss me or even know that I was gone? And thinking that it would be easier if I just offed myself than to experience the turmoil that was inside. I watched my mom go through 4 more divorces, my dad through another, and over, these feelings just got more and more and more. And I didn't know what to do. So I turned to pornography, video games, and anything that would give me a sensation or a feeling inside that got me a relief for a moment. And back then I felt good about it. I was like, wow, that eased my pain. But it didn't really, because then more pain stacked and it accumulated. And I watched myself go through this, looking back, and fast forward, I ended up getting cleaned up a little bit, went on a mission for 2 years, came back and fell back into the same habits. And I was like, man, change can't happen. Like, change is impossible. It's just a moment of pretending, and then you go back to your old ways. And I felt like that was my destiny. But deep inside, I knew that I had something more inside. How many know that? Like, how you're living life right now, there is even more. And you can have it. So I had that spark, but I didn't know what to do to ignite it. So I started reading books, started doing stuff, met my wife who was teaching youth leadership skills, and I started to learn and get knowledge, which is amazing. And this knowledge turned into application, which then turned into transformation. And as I started to go through the knowledge and apply it, month after month turned into years, I started to see changes in myself. Now, some of it was through some very intense work, which was repetition and passion, doing it over and over and over, which is kind of the traditional way of mindset stuff, which is, hey, if you do it long enough and you do it consistent enough and you drill it with enough passion, and I love Tony Robbins and all those things, and it's like, and Les Brown, you gotta want it, you gotta be hungry, right? And it's like all the stuff that they talk about, which is good, but it's also, it felt a little fake to me. I was like, hey, I just gotta pretend it until it's there. And I was like, how can I make a change that actually lasts to where I don't have to relapse? And I can actually make money, have a good relationship, and have it all without losing it all. And that's what I wanted. So I went on this journey and I became obsessed with it. I was like, I want to know the fastest way to make change as humanly possible. So I started to study like crazy, investing money I didn't have. Went from a place of making less than $13,000 a year as a massage therapist, broke, all that crap, depressed, recently married, trying to make it ends meet, to finally getting some breakthroughs and understanding what needed to happen. Went to 6 figures in 7 months. And not only that, but I wanted to have the lifestyle. I wanted to have the time freedom, right? Because the whole point of money was what? You want the freedom. You want the time freedom. A lot of people make money and then they're enslaved. So I didn't want that. I wanted the freedom. And so as I went on this journey, I started to understand that change is not just a mental game. Change is not just a skill set, but it's a physical experience in the body. And if you don't experience change with your whole body, then you will relapse. You'll go back to your old self. You'll go back to the past patterns and the habits. It has to be an identity shift. A what? Identity shift. An identity shift allows you to never go back because it's changed who you are. You ever had something change that you're like, hey, I would never do that again, right? Maybe you act a certain way and then all of a sudden you change and you're like, that would just never define me anymore. Like I would never do that. That's an identity shift. So my question was, how do you create identity shifts as fast as humanly possible? And fast forward, as I was helping a lot of entrepreneurs figuring all this stuff out, I wanted to figure out there's got to be a faster way than just the repetition and the passion, because this is driving me insane, and something inside of me says there's a faster way. So my wife was struggling with gluten. That's where it started. And I tried a lot of different techniques to help her get out of a gluten allergy. And I started to get fascinated with allergies. An allergy. What is an allergy? It's something that the body is literally fighting against. Could be a good thing, but the body's fighting it, resisting it, having responses that are not ideal towards an ideal. And I thought, well, gluten might not be that bad, so why is she having such a horrible response to it? And of course, there was all these physiological things like, lack of different enzymes and functionalities in the body. And I was like, but at the core level, what really is it? Well, it's just a vibrational pattern. That's all it is. All chemicals are just patterns, vibrational frequencies of different things. So I was like, if we can get her body in a state that vibrates and functions at a higher level, where it's no longer pushing away the gluten, then she should be able to eat it no problem. So one night, this was like a 7-month journey of just like in-depth like obsession. I was like, how do you figure this out? And trying stuff and nothing worked, and it would work for a day or two and then it'd come back and relapse, going back through the past patterns. And I was like, there's got to be a way for it to stick. How does that work? And through that, in the middle of the night, I had this download, and it said, okay, the only reason anyone ever suffers with anything is because of an allergy or an addiction, period. That's it. The only reason someone is not having what they want is because of an allergy and addiction. That's it. And after all these years of studying and hundreds of thousands of dollars and books and masterminds and all this, came down to that principle. The only reason someone's not where they want to be is because of an allergy or an addiction? What the heck? Can't be that easy. Like, it's got to be way more complicated. You got to find like the cause of the root cause of the problem and talk about it for hundreds of hours and like figure it out and like figure out who told what and why that disconnection happened and the phrase that they interpreted, and then figure it out and then unveil that, and then finally they break free only to find another thing. And I was like, this is really warping my whole life as a therapist and working on people and doing all this. It's like, I was like, what the heck? It can't be this easy. It's got to be harder. No, the only reason, allergies and addictions, that's it. If you can get them in every organ, gland, and cell on vibrational frequency and not pushing or pulling, then they're going to get the result they want. So I was like, okay, let's try it. Came up with a strategy, pulled together lots of different techniques, and boom, we did it. Within an hour, she says, hey, I want toast. And it stuck for like 7 years. So then we started doing it on a bunch of different foods. And I was like, let's repeat this process. And sure enough, same results. So I thought, if it works good with food, what about with money? How many like money? Yeah? So I was like, well, money is just a vibrational pattern based on our past perceptions. So if I want to make $100,000 in a month, or keep $100,000 in a month, versus spending it all, that's a different pattern and frequency. And the only reason that I wouldn't be attaining it is if some part of me at its core is pushing away that ideal and holding on to the non-ideal. Allergic to what I want, addicted to what I don't want. And as I started to work through that, I did it on myself first. I was like, hey, I love being my guinea pig. I was like, sweet, I'm going to do it. And I did it on myself. And I was like, sweet, let's do this alignment thing, blah, 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 blah. And my thing was, I have clients reach out to me and pay in full for my services that I don't market to. So I was like, hey, some people have that happen to them, right? But then I don't. So why wouldn't I? Because some part of me is what? Allergic to that idea. And addicted to the idea that I have to work really hard and acquire clients. So I was like, well, let's align this thing. So I did it. Boom. Within 24 hours, I had 4 people reach out on weird platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and it turned into $8,000 in sales. I was like, this is pretty weird. Is this placebo? Like, keep it placeboing. This is awesome. I was like, well, let's test it on other people. So the next person I tried on a chiropractor who was stuck at 30K. After switching, because he was addicted to that 30K, he had tried everything external, all the marketing systems, everything that he thought he should do, but yet 30K, 30K, 30K. It was almost as if there was like this invisible ceiling. Anybody ever had those invisible ceilings? And you're like, this is an invisible ceiling. I hate this ceiling, but it's invisible. I don't know where it is, right? And so he had this invisible ceiling for years. And after aligning, getting rid of that allergy and addiction, he doubled his income in less than 30 days. Dang. And I was like, this is weird. That's easy. Let's test it again, right? That's easy. I can do that too. Yeah. So I did it on another one, and he was like, yeah, I have it. It's hard to get referrals. Like, I don't have clients come to me very often. So I was like, well, why would that be? Why do you think? Some part of us is addicted to that vibrational pattern and allergic to the thing that we actually want. So I did an alignment on him, and within 2 weeks, he had 10 new clients come into his practice, where that usually would take 3 months. I was like, this is interesting. I was like, let's keep testing this. So then I was like, let's try it on relationship stuff. You know, there's a lot of people out there with relationship issues. How many want to improve your relationships? So I was like, let's try that. So did it on a lady, and she had a daughter. She was older, and her daughter was like in her 40s, and her whole life she had felt not appreciated. Any moms ever feel that way? Not appreciated? We got some moms there. So she didn't feel appreciated, and she's like, you know what would mean the world to me is if my daughter just showed appreciation. It feels like I've done everything for her, and I feel used. I feel like she doesn't even care. So she did an alignment, because I was like, hey, the only reason you feel used and that your daughter doesn't appreciate you is because some part of you is addicted to that vibrational pattern and allergic to getting what you want. So after aligning, it took about 2 days, and she got a letter from her daughter. First time. And it was like 2 pages of gratitude. And she just like burst into tears. She was like, this is the most amazing thing. And I was like, wow, this is so crazy. let's test this on some other stuff. So I was like, sweet. And so we did it on some other things. And then there's this guy named Craig. And this was kind of the big aha for me. And I thought, well, what about these things that people say can't change? You know, they're like, I've tried everything, Tyler. I've tried this. Nothing ever changes me. And they wear it like a badge of honor. I can't change. Try. And I was like, well, the only reason you can't change is because some part of you is addicted to that thing and allergic to what you actually want. So this guy named Craig, he had a cardiac arrest 5 years back. And he was generating multiple six figures, over 600,000 a year or so. And what happened was stress. Anybody ever generate some money and then it kind of gets stressful at times? And you're like, how do I actually manage it? And it's a little bit more stressful than you think. So he had this business, all this stuff, and a lot more overhead and all these things happening, and cardiac arrest. Took him out of the game. So for 5 years, his wife was like this master practitioner of 20 years, did all these things, nothing helped. Tried all these surgeons and everything. And I was like, well, the only reason that you're that way with these symptoms, which if he walked and looked left or right, he'd fall over. If he could only function about 4 hours a day, in this room, he'd have to wear sunglasses and earplugs. So I was like, the only reason that you have these symptoms is because you're addicted to it and allergic to what you want. That's it. So like, well, let's give it a shot. If I'm right, it'll go away. So we did it. And 1 week later, he calls back and he's like choked up and he's like, Tyler, oh my gosh, dude. After that, after switching, I'm functioning over 8 hours a day, no sunglasses, no earplugs. I can go on walks and I can look left and right and I don't fall over. And I got this download. I was like, I got to teach this to the masses. This is different than everything else. It's not about getting to the root cause. It's not about repetition. It's not about inundating it over and over. It's not about just bursting it with a ton of vibrational patterns and frequencies and hoping that it changes. It's about strategically rewiring every single part of your body so that you can have a complete identity change. And you're no longer pushing away the things that you desire or holding on to the things that you don't want. It comes down to allergies and addictions and being in a state of alignment. Making sense? Turn to somebody, give them a little nudge and say, that makes sense. Makes sense. Turn to somebody else and say, hey, I bet you got some allergies. Point to somebody else and say, I bet I'm more addicted than you. Well, then point to yourself and say, but today it's all going to end. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So that was kind of my journey. And as I learned, I started to just test it on all sorts of things, and I got really honed in, and I was like, man, I really just love helping entrepreneurs break through their money ceilings and be able to dominate in all areas of life so that they can have it all without losing it all. And just like me, there were times where I would force things at the expense of what I valued. Anyone experience that? Where you're like pushing really hard and you're going super extreme only to look back and you've left a crater, right? That is not success. It's not sustainable. Sustainable success is by changing your identity and becoming the person that you're meant to be so that you can dominate and completely change everything that you do. How you handle stress, how you work through things, how you're able to bring in money, how you handle those skills. Following that? Cool. Okay, so how many are ready to take on a new identity today, yeah? Yeah. Sweet. Okay, everybody. Hey, what's up? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like to learn more about what you just experienced or watched, then in the description, I actually have written a book called The Alignment Effect. And in the book, we go in details of how to align and the power inside of you. So if you'd like to learn how to get results a lot faster and reprogram not just your mind, but your cellular memory, then check out the description and grab that book called Alignment Effect. It will completely alter how you think and live your life. Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.